And welcome to another edition of South Texas Crossfire. This is Attorney Joe Flores reminding you to join us each and every week right here on the internet. And also, you can catch us also on KTMV, on Facebook, all the social media. Follow us, like us, and also pin us if you want. And we're also now very excited to be going mainstream. Bem-vindo, mis amigos que falam português também. We begin going down to Brazil and letting everybody know about us down there. And we're also speaking to a lot of nurses and healthcare providers and spreading the word about South Texas Crossfire and our video legal journal. You know, I've been at this for about 10 years, folks, and we're celebrating our 10th anniversary, also our 11th season. And what better way to bring it on than action-packed legal issues that are impacting us, not just here in South Texas, but are having an impact around the United States, and also people around the world watch because they want to see how our legal system works. It's with a heavy heart that I bring on an issue that I've been watching closely and that we all have been concerned with, because there's somebody that is an excellent attorney in my view, and that also has done many trials and is inspiration to many of us that have represented the injured, and that's Mikal Watts. Mr. Watts, I've known for a number of years professionally, not personally, but I've seen him in court several times, and again, it's with a heavy heart because he is a friend of my good friend too, Carlos Lopez, the Ted Turner of South Texas Broadcasting. But there is an indictment that has been handed down, a very serious one, a long one, that we're going to be looking at today. And we're also going to be able to, in this rare circumstance, have comments from the person that's accused himself, Mikal Watts, the attorney. And I want everybody to know, first of all, that this information is brought to you by the First Amendment and also by the Communications Decency Act of 1996. So the internet, you know, we can put what we want on here, but be responsible about what we put on. And we want to be fair and balanced, truly fair and balanced. So let's begin. We're going to go to a video. Dave, you want to cue that up? What we've got, to give you a background very quickly before we get to the video, we've got an indictment, and it starts out with this document here. It's filed in the Southern District of Mississippi, and I think Dave can cue up on that here in a minute as well. And it's accusing Mikal C. Watts, his brother David, among other people, and it looks like some people of Vietnamese American persuasion, as well as a gentleman by the name of Greg Warren and another gentleman, Hector Eloy Guerra, of some pretty serious conduct. Now, as a federal criminal attorney, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not just a journalist, but I also practice federal law. This is not advice. This is not a show to solicit any business. You can contact any lawyer you want. But what I know from being an honor to be in front of excellent federal judges is an indictment is just that. It's an accusation. It's not evidence. What you read in an indictment and that's on the internet and what we see on the video is Mr. Watts, which is his constitutional right to free speech, answering these allegations. Among these, that these individuals named in the indictment sued British Petroleum. You all remember that it was Deepwater Horizon, the oil rig back there in April of 2010 that wouldn't turn off. It was burning and burning out there in the Gulf, and it was exposing all of this animal and plant life and people who lived along the Gulf, restaurant owners, businessmen, people that worked as deckhands in the oil field, and it caused oil pollution. And President Obama watched this very closely and worked with British Petroleum to put this out. They had a great deal of difficulty doing that. I remember this vividly. And so Deepwater Horizon was probably one of the worst oil spills, if not the worst, in American history since the Valdez oil spill in Alaska. So with that, on August 6, 2010, the indictment reads that British Petroleum established the Deepwater Horizon Oil Spill Trust, an irrevocable trust, and to give to the victims, to compensate for them. Now, as we see here, something went wrong that Mikal Watts, being one of the biggest attorneys in the United States, was, of course, on what they call a steering committee. And he filed a number of lawsuits. Now, what the U.S. Attorney is alleging that the attorney, Michael Watts, on paragraph 14, page 4 of the 59-page indictment, that an attorney one, an unidentified attorney informant, and this is public record. I'm not reading anything like the Coca-Cola formula. This is just what they're alleging. And once again, allegations are not fact. You can indict a ham sandwich, as one good attorney told a jury one time. But at the same time, if proven, the government has the burden of proof, but Mr. Watts and all the others that have been accused also have the right to also present evidence and defend themselves in a court of law. This is America. And so attorney one, an unidentified attorney, attorney one paid defendant Michael Watts $3.1 million. This is what they're saying happened. These are not my opinions. This is just what the Mississippi federal attorneys put out there, the prosecutors, that attorney one paid Michael Watts $3.1 million to buy a piece, quote unquote, buy a piece of Watts' seafood docket in what's called Multi-District Litigation 2179, and that an attorney two, unidentified attorney, was a licensed attorney in Texas who paid defendant Michael Watts $7.8 million, allegedly, this is not evidence, of a big piece of Watts' seafood docket. And attorney two received his buy-in money from a businessman from Texas. I don't know what that means. And of course, it also goes on to say that Michael Watts represented people in Washington, Virginia, Utah, California, Connecticut, Kansas, Massachusetts, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New York, North Carolina, Arkansas, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi. Okay, a lot of people. So it goes on in the indictment, and we're going to go to it, but it basically goes on and on that victim one through up-teen victims, they're alleging, the government is, that that Michael Watts falsely claimed to the court that the victims were deckhands on a commercial fishing vessel, when in truth, victim three, and the others that 1, 2, 3, etc., did not work on a commercial fishing vessel or in the seafood industry at the time of Deepwater Horizon oil spill. In other words, what BP is alleging in a civil suit and what the federal prosecutors in a criminal indictment are saying is that this never happened. In paragraph 133, ladies and gentlemen, it goes on about victim 24 up to victim 40. It goes on and on. But in paragraph 133, I think Dave can zoom in on this. This is what I've never seen in my legal career of nearly 15 years. I was a nurse before, so I'm not, I'm all about integrity and trying to be honest with the public. But this is what this says on here. On or about January 16th, 2013, defendant Mikal C. Watts submitted or caused to be submitted a presentment form to British Petroleum, that's BP. It's not blood pressure, that's British Petroleum, claimed cost and damages in the amount of $45,930 in the name of Lucy Liu. And I said, oh, that name sounds familiar. And it says, and claiming Lucy Liu was a deckhand on a commercial seafood vessel. The government says Lucy Liu was a dog. We're going to go ahead and go to the video and see what Mr. Mikal C. Watts, the attorney, and also super lawyer for many years, just to say a few good things about this gentleman that I know personally. He graduated from law school when he was 21. He learned his craft and how to defend the injured from a David Perry, excellent attorney, Perry and Haas, both of them, Renee Haas. And he went on and started his own firm after going into business with a good friend of mine, Mr. Harris. They split up, and then he formed his own firm of Watts and Guerra. So let's just cut to the video that he's put out in a public domain. This is nothing that I've put out. He's put it out in a public domain, and it's up for grabs, just like any video. Dave and I have learned about that in politics. And I believe the site is Mikal, M-I-K-A-L-C, Watts, W-A-T-T-S.com, MikalCWatts.com. So let's go to some excerpts from that, and then we'll be back.
Hello, I'm attorney Michael Watts. After more than 4 years of waiting for this investigation to end, with this announcement, I will now finally have my day in court. I look forward to a speedy trial, and to the opportunity to prove to a jury of my peers that I am not guilty of any crime. I've spent my entire adult life working hard to protect the rights of those victimized by corporations like BP. I've been blessed to have been successful fighting for the rights of others and look forward to continuing to do so on behalf of my clients in the future. One thing I have learned: sometimes when you're David about ready to cast your first stone up at Goliath, Goliath becomes a bully. And some of the big corporations that I have taken on fight back, not merely in court, but oftentimes they direct their attacks at me personally. That's what's going on here. Every lawsuit I brought against BP was filed in good faith, based on the information provided to my firm by others. After filing these cases, I then spent over 2 years of my life working extremely hard with other people, together reviewing millions of pages of documents, taking hundreds of depositions, both here along the Gulf Coast and in BP's home country of England, proving that what BP did was wrong. Even worse, proving that BP acted criminally and caused a blowout on the Deepwater Horizon oil rig, which cost 11 good men their lives and caused the largest environmental disaster in American history. I will plead not guilty because I am not guilty, and yet it is BP itself that has pled guilty over and over and over again to crimes for its own felonious conduct that has cost many innocent men their lives and that has destroyed our Gulf Coast environment. I want you to know that this attack on me today only strengthens my resolve to fight for those whose livelihoods and for some whose very lives have been destroyed by the actions of bad corporations like BP. To those who want me to walk away or to back down, I'll say this: it's never worked before and it won't work now. It's not because I relish the fight. It's because what I love to do is to level the playing field. Big corporations can use their wealth to bend the world to their will. Lord knows BP, Volkswagen, and Syngenta have recently tried. Regular people don't have these advantages or this same power, but they do have one thing on their side: the law. And the law is on my side too. More importantly, the facts are on my side as well. I know the evidence will show that I have committed none of the crimes of which I have been accused. I worship a just God, and I pray that He allows a speedy trial so that the truth will come out sooner rather than later, so that I can return my focus to my family, and so that I can return to doing what I love to do, to fight against giant companies who have hurt regular people, people who can only receive justice through access to our courts and through the rule of law. This is my life's work, and I look forward to continuing it when this process is completed. Thank you.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just joining us, we are talking about in our first of a four-part series on the United States of America in the Southern District of Mississippi versus Mikal C. Watts and his brother David Watts, Winter Lee, Greg Warren, Hector Eloy Guerra, and the Thai Hung Lee, Christy Lee, and Thi Hong Nguyen, aka Abby Nguyen. These people are accused of various crimes, and remember, they're accused. Everybody is presumed innocent. As somebody who's worked as a federal attorney for over a decade, nearing a decade and a half, I will tell you that an indictment like this that we are looking at, ladies and gentlemen, is not evidence. It is what it is, an indictment. It's an accusation. Basically, you take this and a grand jury sees if there's enough evidence to even accuse somebody, and then they indict them. But that is not a trial. That is not a condemnation of anything. This is very serious because for the first time as far as I know, in South Texas, we've heard accusations, not since a case involving somebody that was accused of running cases and not being a lawyer many, many years ago, have we had something of this magnitude, especially British Petroleum, making these accusations in civil court that Michael Watts and people that worked for him, including his brother, they some sort of way falsified or claims. And again, these are strong accusations. They're not evidence, they're accusations. But we are going to be going down to Mississippi and investigating this. Dave and I are packing up the KTMB crew and everybody out there. And, we're going to go and investigate it. We're going to go watch the trial. I heard Tommy the Animal Guns Holbein is also going to be in on it. He, of course, is another journalist who is following things closely, as well as even our brethren and the CBS affiliates, KZTV, and other people. And so this is going to be a big trial. Hopefully, you've seen the evidence that they're trying to present through the indictment, but you've also heard the other side. You've also seen Mr. Michael Watts respond to these very, very serious allegations. And he has every right to put on his defense. And that's why we're following this, because this could be the trial of the new century. A lawyer on trial for filing a lawsuit against British Petroleum. When you take on the 800-pound gorilla, British Petroleum, worth many hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, then, in a street fight, you punch, they punch back. So this is what's going on. But for the United States U.S. Attorney, the U.S. Attorney to go after him in the Southern District of Mississippi, they are accusing him of criminal acts, and he and the other people accused. And remember, I can't underline this enough, that the indictment is not evidence. But the trial is going to be heating up. We're going to find out. This just became unsealed. As we come on the one of four parts, we're going to be following up and speaking with ex-prosecutors and lawyers and getting more commentary on what's going on. You've heard from one of the accused themselves, who put out a message to the public on the public domain through, and you can see that at MikalCWatts, that's MichaelWatts.com. And you can see that for yourself if you missed it right here. We're also going to be loading this up. And again, any domain names, any websites that we have, they're not used to make any money. Nobody's paid me or pulling my strings, or I'm trying to make a profit off this. I am just blessed to be a lawyer. I'm blessed to be a healthcare provider, and I'm blessed to bring out the news and try to report it as fair and balanced as we can on KTMB. Not only KTMB, but me as a video blogger. And we're very excited to be putting on a new blog spot, South Texas blog spot, that's going to be coming out. And we're going to be letting everybody know what's going on, not only on this trial, but also on legal issues that affect all South Texans and all of my Latino brothers and sisters. Damas y caballeros que están mirando aquí en esta audiencia, déjenme informarme que esto aquí no es evidencia. Otra vez, el licenciado Michael Watts y los otros que están acusados no están culpables. Hasta el fiscal puede probar eso. So que not guilty until proven so beyond a reasonable doubt. But we're going to be watching this, and again, we want to thank DM Productions for always bringing us on and putting us on in the best light possible, and also my good friend Carlos Lopez. And we also want to thank people out there that make the World Wide Web our First Amendment right to put on this type of information. We're not trying to pick on anybody. We're not trying to slander anybody. Nobody's pulling my strings or paying me. We're just trying to find out the root of the matter and talk to people and how they feel about tort reform and what's happened with lawsuits like this. If these allegations are proven true, what might happen not only to the Democratic Party, because I've got to bring that out. In our series, we're going to talk to politicians and try to get politicians on the line that he gave money to, that Michael Watts gave money to. Over $2.5 million, I believe, the last campaign finance report I read. And one of them being one of the guys who may be our vice presidential nominee, Mr. Castro. Even our president attended a fundraiser where there was like a $35,000 or $38,000 plate per meal or something. And so we're going to look into all that information, and part 2, how it affects politics, part 3, how it affects our judicial system, and part 4, who else is involved that may be called, and who is attorney number 1 and 2 providing all this information. Maybe that will be revealed. But again, we cannot pry. We cannot look and try to interfere with the government's case. But this is news. This is public. This has been unsealed. This is a blockbuster. This is a South Texas lawyer that has been very well respected for many, many years, an attorney for over 2 decades, became an attorney at the age of 21. Mikal C. accused by the government of trying to defraud British Petroleum and file false claims. We're going to have more information on this in part 2 and 3 and 4. Ladies and gentlemen, don't miss it. No se lo pierde aquí in South Texas Crossfire. Thank you all, and God bless.
But they put them all in the same category, and that has to change. And we lawyers are the ones that need to change that, but the public can be alert to help us by turning in and calling on improper solicitations. If you have the misfortune of being in the hospital, being in the emergency room, being in a funeral home, and approached by people that you don't know, that you didn't ask, and it offends you, and I don't care whether they're sitting there with a $25,000 or $30,000 check, which some of them may be, you call, because we'll do something about it. And if that you call, I'll follow through on it, because I've made it my purpose and my activity nowadays to see if I can't help alleviate this problem.